So again, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening based on your time zones. So we are here with the another session of your Cloud Computing Expert Masterclass. First of all, welcome to the session. So as I was telling you yesterday, I would be very happy to help all of you guys to go ahead and gain the knowledge onto the your Azure part. So last week you all has deal with the your particular uh, basics, okay, of the about cloud, private cloud, and all these other things, why cloud is better, benefits of it, and we have seen how to create a free account. Now, I'm hoping that few of you people actually gone ahead and create this free account over here, because what we will be doing some of the demonstration today itself. And performing demo, first I will be showing you the demonstration, then I will be giving you the time to go ahead and perform the demonstration by yourself over there. Now, as I was asking you that at least after this, your boot camp, I will be hoping that you people have the bit of a courage to go ahead and at least try to get yourself the AZ900 certificate, Azure 900, which is Azure Fundamental Certificate. And if you will do that, I will be very happy. You can tag me around in the LinkedIn and everywhere that So we passed the your particular Azure Fundamental over here. So that's why I want to give you the very basic idea, and I want to give that idea practically to you guys, so that theory you can read from anywhere. Microsoft is providing all the study material for free. You can go to their website, check out every page, but something that I want to explain is few concepts, and I want to explain you things practically onto the portal. Once you have that clear, the theory will be automatically making sense. And that is our goal with this thing, that at least you guys go ahead and get the certificate done and get yourself the confidence, that yes, you can deal with the your Azure portal itself. And one of the, like right now, AWS and your Azure is the Azure. They are the top two one, which cloud service provider, which is in the market. There is also the GCP, which is just behind them. So this is something that we want, that at least one or two portal you guys got confidence to go ahead and work with this thing, right? So yesterday we were talking about what is the cloud, fundamentals of the cloud, benefits of the cloud, types of the cloud services. We talked about the shared responsibility yesterday, and then I was telling you that how you are going to create, uh, you know, how you are going to create the free account onto the cloud. And then we were talking about the different services, that is there, that different services provided by the Azure, like IoT, Marketplace, SQL database. So about the, your practicals and all those kind of things we were discussing over there at that particular part, right? So those are the few basic things that what we were learning about at the your yesterday's session. Now today, what we have to go what we have to cover, let's just go ahead and check. So today's agenda on the day 7 is all about the core Azure solution and management tools that help you create a better solution. Azure monitoring service, tool to manage and configure your Azure environment with your serverless technology and IoT and AI services. These are going to be the few factors that we will be talking about today. Few things like IoT services, AI services, we will be talking about them bit, theoretically, right? We'll be seeing the few other tools, like you can have the PowerShell, you can have the Cloud Shell as well installed, and you can work with them to go ahead and configure or handle your solution to create a better solution over there. So these kind of the services we will be looking into today's session. So today's session we will be starting with the your hands-on scenarios itself. So we will be going ahead and we will be working with one by one over here. Now we will be going ahead and then we will be looking into the your different kind of a scenario, different Azure solutions as well, that how these things they should work. So we'll be starting with the different Azure solution, and the very first one that we will be checking over here is going to be your virtual machine. Okay, a VM. Now, what is going to be a virtual machine? So yesterday as well, you know, when we are talking about this Azure Solutions, this is going to be the your part when we were talking about your virtual machines. I was telling you yesterday as well, through the virtual machines, what we are achieving your physical hardware level virtualization. So what we are achieving with this physical hardware level virtualization. What we mean by this, that you don't need to go ahead, purchase a new laptop, workstation or PC to go ahead and launch a new VM. Let's say one day you decide that you want to deploy a Linux server. Okay. And you are running a particular window machine. Now you're going to the market purchasing a new, you don't want to uninstall the Windows. You want both machines side by side. So what you will be going with this and you will be deploying your Linux machine over, you know, virtual environment, or you can have the option to purchase the physical hardware. Now what is going to happen is uh, after this whole scenario, we have created earlier what you were using on your physical machine. You were using something like VMware, right? You were using something like VirtualBox. And once you have these in those environment, you were creating a separate particular virtual machine which was running your Linux in the window itself. Like if I will be on my other another laptop, another workstation which is based on the window, there I am having the VMware Pro. In there I am having multiple machines. Like if you have attended my offensive security part, okay, of the our sorry, our cybersecurity basics, right? So there I was taking care of the offensive security. At that time, I was hosting a particular virtual environment in my laptop where I was having lot of virtual machine like Kali Linux, and then lot of the Windows XP machines 7, 10, and different target servers as well. So you can create those kind of environment in your local system. With your local system, you have limited state. Now, when you go onto the big higher level, like in an organization, you will be having dedicated system, physical machine there to host those virtual environment. And with the cloud, what is happening? We have, like when we generally refer to the cloud, 90% of the time, people they are referring to the public cloud. Okay, public cloud like AWS, Azure, where you, me, any other organization can go and create their account. So we are referring to them. So in the cloud itself, when we are talking about these solutions over here, in the public cloud, that physical architecture is someone else's responsibility. That physical data center, deploying machines, giving them network power, physical security, all is someone else's responsibility. Like in this case, this is the responsibility of Azure to provide its user all of the facilities that in there. This account over here yesterday, you need to log in into the portal.azure.com. Okay. And once you will be having portal.azure.com up and running, what is going to happen is that you can perform these demonstrations as well. Right? So what we are going to do is we will be going ahead and working with this scenario. So first, today we need to understand its services that are in there. Now, very first service which we are going to deal is the virtual machine. Now, when we are talking about the virtual machine, there is one requirement. First, very basic requirement for the virtual machine is that it need to be a part of a VNet. Okay, a virtual network. So first requirement is that. So means if you want to create a virtual machine, first you need to have a VNet over here, a virtual representation of your network. Okay, we are going to call it the VNet. Now if you guys are familiar with the how these things they goes ahead, the VNet and assignment of the your uh, you know assignment of your IP address range. So what we'll be providing an address space over here. For example, right now for training purpose, we'll be using 10.20.0.0/16. Okay, we will create this thing. Now Just like any physical network of yours, you divided it into the subnets. So same here, we will be doing the same thing. So VNet is going to be a service or a resource, we can say, is going to be the very first resource that we will deploy. With it, we will be performing the subnetting. So we will call it, let's say first one is the subnet 0. Okay. Another one, you can call this like subnet 1 over here. Right. Now let's say that subnet 0 is having the range of 10.0 dot oh sorry 10.20.0.0 slash 24. Subnet 1, I can divide it like 10.20.1.0 slash 24. Like this, we can divide the subnet. Either, you know, when we talk about these kind of a things over here, so with the subnet 0, subnet 1, what is happening, two subnets we have created on the different range. Okay, just like in any physical network, you guys are working ahead. So you are doing the same. Now, here, what you will be doing, you will be going ahead and deploying your second resource. So let me represent it with the different color. Second resource you will be deploying is a VM, virtual machine. Now this will be your physical laptop. So what happened? Think it is like this, that at some organization level, you were having the network, then you deployed or you purchased a particular hardware machine and you deployed it, right? That this is the laptop. So, this is my second resource that you deployed. Second, the physical disks, right? In the physical machine, we are talking about the physical machine, but it required a physical disk over here, right? Now, when we are deploying this virtual machine means this machine required a disk to store its VM. Okay, we will create two VM today, one based on the your Linux, another one based on your uh, Windows Server 2022. Okay, so this one VM, what we will be doing here in this VM, third thing you will be deploying is going to be, let me just change the color so that we can differentiate between them. Third thing is going to be a disk. Okay, we will be creating the disk, virtual disk, right? So Azure gives you the both option like managed and unmanaged disk. Managed disk will be, managed by the Azure and separate kind of the block storage that is going to be in there. And with this, remember, how it is going to work. So people are saying EC2 and VM are different. So guys, they have the different representations. Okay, each cloud service provider, they have a different way of deploying the services that how they want to provide you. If on a higher level, we will say that EC2 and VMs are same, right? So EC2 servers you deployed with the AWS, they are almost similar. The way that they were deployed, somewhere it will be similar to this place, but everyone has a different way of deploying those resources. So we are deploying things over here according to the Azure's way, right? So here what we have is the three things we have deployed now, disk. Now, one more mandatory thing that is going to be in there. Now, this virtual machine wants to communicate with the network. So, what we have in your physical laptops or workstation that allow you to communicate with the network. So, one another thing which we will be having over here is the fourth one, that is going to be the network interface card, right? We will deploy a network interface card with this one. Okay. Now VM we have network interface card over here, and this is the four mandatory things over here. Okay, two additional thing for my own personal purpose I will be deploying over here, which is completely optional with this, because what will be happening, I want to access this. Right now I will be adding a public IP address over here, right? And that is a separate resource. Okay, now because it has the public IP address, it will be attached to the network interface card. And same, because now it is publicly accessible, Just like in AWS, you were reading about the security group. Here also, I will be attaching a network security group called NSG to this networking interface over here, right? So that I can control who can go ahead, who can send the traffic to my virtual machine, who cannot send the traffic to my virtual machine, that I can control with the network interface cards NSG network security group, which is one of the mandatory thing in the security part of the your cloud. So these are the few simple things that are in here. So in the Azure solution, you are seeing these factors, these solutions being deployed over here right now, right? From VNet, VM, disk, network interface, public IP address, and network security. Now I can go ahead and start creating VNet first. Then I can go ahead and then choose the create the public IP as well, network security group. If I want, I can deploy them separately and then combine them in a same place. But easier is just like the EC2 instance deployment page. You are seeing that if you will be deploying it with the portal over there, all of them can be done from a same page. So but like from this many time earlier, I used to show this kind of things, that first create this, then create this. But rather than that, I want you guys to give time to go ahead and perform this thing during the session. Like, I think 10-minute time to deploy one machine, virtual machine is going to be enough. So here, what I want to show you is a kind of a shortcut. So either, there are now n number of ways of deploying resource. Now I can either go onto the portal menu on the top left. From there, I can pick up virtual machine. I can go onto this create option. I can go and click on Azure virtual machine over here and then start creating the virtual machine. I can do this thing, or I can go back to home. I can search on this on top virtual machine, click on this, then start creating the virtual machine, or simply this button, create a resource. I will click on this one. Now I will go ahead onto this one and I will click on this virtual machine option, and it is saying create. I click on that create button, right? So you can go ahead, create a resource. So again, everyone, click on create a resource. Virtual machine will be the most popular Azure service. So you will click on create. Now, if you remember yesterday, we created a resource group. Remember yesterday what I was telling you? When you have to deploy, so we were understanding the architecture of Azure yesterday. That subscription management group, different things were there. So what we were doing, we were using these things. And now in this one, I will be selecting the resource group like the your Cloud Expert Masterclass. This resource group we created. So yesterday I was telling you what is a resource group, what is a subscription, right? And I was telling you, whenever you need to create a new resource, it will be asking you that against which subscription do you want to go ahead and deploy your resource. So this is here, right? I'm choosing this subscription. I'm selecting that resource group, that keep my resources, that's 6 resources that will be deployed right now, keep them in here. Give this virtual machine a name. Okay, so we will giving it the name Cloud Expert EXP. Yeah, sorry. So Cloud EXP Masterclass 1, right? This is the name of my virtual machine that we are giving it over here. Now, if you remember, this I created on a region. So yesterday also what we talked about the geography, right? So if you guys remember, we talked about the geography. We talked about the region pairs, and we talked about bit availability set and availability your zones over here, right? A bit we talked about them. Now what we are going to do is, right now I am deploying it in the central India region. Okay, availability option, there is option of availability zone. Remember I was telling you one region can have at least one data center and at max 3 data center, and all of them will be used as the zones. So in here you can see zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. 3 zones are here. So I am on the zone 1, and you know I'm not choosing actually the option of the availability zone or availability set. This is your architectural redundancy, which we are not looking into it right now. So we will be going on to the no infrastructure redundancy is required right now. Now I will be going with the security type. So what Microsoft in the last 1 year has deployed or given you the option to go ahead and work with this something which is the your uh, virtual TPM launch. Okay. So if many of you will be familiar with the concept of the trusted platform module, right? TPM. So now if you want to boot your system with the TPM, right? Virtual TPM option has been provided to us by the Microsoft over here, because few changes personally also they have deployed with the Windows 11. So here standard means most of the machine will be support, is going to support the standard. Then specific machines or images like operating system images, that is going to go ahead and create the your particular TPM, or uh, sorry, only few specific images are going to, or machine size, and even the image like Windows 22 servers, Windows 11's very specific version are going to support this thing. So usually you can widget onto this, this I option that you are seeing. It will help you to learn a lot of concept. So there are two things like trusted virtual machine and confidential virtual machine. So this confidential virtual machine right now not supported in this region. Okay. So you will see if you will be picking up some other region like East US, there it might be supporting. Okay. So this is going to be the Central India region where we are right now. In the Central India region, this is going to be your confidential virtual machine option, which is not supported. There other are options as well, which in the East US it might be supported as well. So on top of your trusted launch, these confidential virtual machine, they offer higher confidentiality and integrity guaranteed with the hardware based trusted execution environment. Okay, so if your security requirement is saying that you should be having a machine where TPM based boot up process is required, so you can choose those images and you can choose the particular TPM module as well. But for us there is no such requirement, so what we will do, we will go with the standard tier over here right now. Now here is the image. Okay, so there you can see lot of the image which is recently used and in the past as well, and some popular ones as well: Windows 10 Pro, 11 Pro, 16, 2019, Oracle, SUSE, right? Ubuntu Server 2019, 10 Pro, 2022, Data Center, right? Different images are there. And if you want to see more image, you can go in here. See all image, it will take you to the marketplace. Right now you are on the all, you will go in there and there are 270 pages from where you can select like Debian 11, Bullseye, CentOS, and the your different scenario. SQL Server 2019, Visual Studio 2022, Ubuntu Minimal 2022. So you can see different versions are going on over here at this particular point itself, right? Now, when we are talking about these scenarios over here, so you can pick any one of these things. I will go back in here and I will be choosing, first of all, I want to launch the 2022 Data Center Azure Edition. Now, benefit of this is, uh, okay, someone is saying that can you zoom in onto your screen? I hope screen size is good. On your system, there will be a zoom button. You can click on that and it will be making it good according to your screen. Okay, because already I'm at the, I think, best size over here. Okay, so when I'm saying we will be choosing the image of Windows Server 2022, and this is where those your $200 will be coming in handy. Okay, where this $200 will be coming in handy, because if I would have run this thing on the free tier 1 machine, which is allowing me B1 size, that is going to have only 1 gigs of RAM, and it would never allow you to run the Windows Server 2022 on that 1 gigs RAM machine, right? So this is where it will be coming in handy. So you can use it. I will be choosing the RAM like 8 gigs and all the things. And when you will be finding out that it is much better over here, right? Over the Windows Server 2022 and 8 gigs, it is running much better. You can have more experience, and that will be charged against those, the cost of that will be charged against that $200 over here. Now remember this one, you are having this option. With this, you can have like this Ubuntu Server 18.0. Now why I'm choosing this one for a minute is now you will see we have now from last few months, or around a year, we can say we have the two options that we have the ARM 64 based or cross 64 based architecture that you want to pick up from. So on which VM architecture you want to deploy your image, you have the option of that as well. So we will be going with the Server 2022, which is only supporting cross x64 architecture. So with this is the one thing. Now we reach to the point of the size. Okay, so in Azure, we have the different family. Like right now it is selecting B1MS family. Okay, from the drop down, some of my recently used will be here and recommended by the image publisher. So image is published by the Microsoft Windows. So Microsoft is suggesting that you can use your these size or these particular machines which will be better suited for this image. So if you click on the size, there will be the different family. So this first one is most used by the Azure user. If I will drop it down, you will see the different families. There is going to be the your particular like D series. There is going to be the your B series and all. So you can see fourth generation D family size for your general purpose CPU or general purpose need. B series, which we will be using, ideal for the workload that do not need continuous full CPU performance. So benefit of this is there is going to be the this is going to be something like cheaper option. And because for the demo purpose this is better, because we don't need to go ahead and share this with the this CPU load with the we can share the CPU loads with the other over here. So this is going to be the few factors. Then there is the E series for your high memory needs. Okay, fourth generation, fifth generation of the E series. There is going to be the F series, which is giving you the twice the performance boost to the vector processing and the workload over here. Then there is L series, high throughput, low latency, right? And local NVMe supports, right? So different series are there, and you can just go there and check out these series one by one. Like N series, you will open only one size. D series, 3 4 different size that are in there. That is going to be this part. E series, different series and part. So this is going to be in there. And what these things they do contain, if I will show you from here, what we have this thing which is saying virtual CPU. How many virtual CPUs are going to be assigned for this? Then there is going to be the RAM. Okay, different RAM size of the according to your need, you can pick anyone up. How many data disk you can add? Now remember, when I was showing you that option, that what we can do is we can have a particular VM, and that VM will be having a disk, right? We can have a VM and VM will be having a disk. Now that disk is nothing but your, if we talk about that disk is going to be your operating system disk. That is different from the data disk. Data disk is like in your PCs, if you have seen, you have the second slot for the external hard drive. You can use the internally as well. You can add one more hard drive. So it is similar to that, that I can add more disk into my system. So it will be different from the operating system disk, which will be deployed with the virtual machine. And one more kind of a disk will be not a disk exactly, but yes, another partition you will be seeing into your system, that will be the temporary storage. Okay, so temporary storage, with each size they gave you the some temporary storage as well, like this one. Okay, this is the something that is going to be in there. Now, the temporary storage and operating system disk will be different. And apart from that, you can add 4 more disks, 2 more disks, 8 more disks, 16 more data disks with the virtual machine. It's up to you. What will be the maximum input output per second from the virtual machine? This is right. Then there is a premium disk from the Azure. They will be creating managed disk. There is a premium SSDs, premium hard disk, which will be managed by the Microsoft, giving you the higher availability, whether they are supported or not, that is there. And this is estimated cost per month, associated with the any size. So this is the associated cost that you are having over here at that with this particular movement right now, right? So we have these particular sizes which is working over here. Okay, now based on your requirement, okay, based on your requirement, you can go ahead and select which one is needed for you. Okay, might be you are looking into this machine which is costing you 3,574. If this is our priority, we can select this one, right? Or you can select something like B2MS, which is having this is thing. So you can compare now. So, based on the any organization need, you can go ahead and select the any of these machines. So if you go with this machine, what it is giving you, 2 virtual CPU cores, 8 gigs of RAM, 4 data disks, 3200 IOPS, temporary storage of 16 gigs, supporting the premium disk and costing around 3,574 Indian rupees. Okay. Then B2MS general purpose, same 284. Its input output per second is less. So you might face sometime, okay, the things like your uh, might be, but we are not going to do the high input output with the machines. So, a bit lesser of the your input output you will be seeing with the B2MS over here. And, here it is much better. And then 16 temporary storage supported, and this is the one. So why don't we create a machine with the size of D2 ASV4? Okay, usually I love the B2MS size, but okay, today let's just create with the D2 ASV4, which is being supported over here. So we will select that particular size over here, right? Now, this is the size. Just like now, you have to do the admin login. Okay, so in the admin login, we will be creating the username and password. Now in this part, this is the first few things. You created a username, you created a password, and yes, I was telling you this I button, which is, a metadata about the any part, it will help you out. Like if you was about to pick up the security type, right? So if you want to read about the trusted launch virtual machine, this will directly give you a link. The link will be open in a new tab over here for you, and you can go ahead and work around with that, right? This is the trusted launch. What can happen with this one? You can see which VM size is supporting it, and operating system are supporting the trusted virtual launch. So anytime you have some doubt, you can just choose it and go to I, and they might be having the links which can help you understand them better. Okay, so with this window machine, I created a username and password and account over here for this, right? So this is going to be our whole scenario. First of all, I created a username, password. When you will be creating it, this will be administrator username for the virtual machine, administrative password. So it will give you the option in the password. Again, in the username, you can see it will give you the warning like username cannot contain a special character, username must not include reserved word, and the value should be between 1 to 20 character long. 1 to 20 character long. In the password as well, it will be giving you the warning over here that it should be having the combination. 4 options are there: small letters, capital letters, your special characters, and number. So out of these four, the password should be combination of at least 3 of them, and length should be at least, I guess, around 12 characters. Okay, this will be the administrator account suggestion that you have to follow. Then some inbound port rule. So that inbound traffic that it want you to allow, like this is a Windows machine. So we are allowing the RDP connection for now, 3389. That is going to be in there. Okay. Next, we will be going on to the disk section over here. Now in the disk section, we will be choosing, for you, I am again going to suggest leave it as it is. Okay. Go with the default setting. So, disk will be created, disk will be encrypted as well. So you want to learn more about the, attached data disk and the type of the disk that is allowed. You can click on here and read about the Azure managed disk. So most of the time, Azure will be asking you to go with the managed disk. So there are two ways of the disk. One is managed, one is unmanaged. Managed is Azure will be taking care of the disk itself. If it will fail, Azure will go ahead, sort the problem out and give you the option that, this is the one particular part. You should go over there. Okay. So it will be giving you the kind of the option. So managed is why? Because with this, you will be getting the higher of your, what I would say, when we talk about this, you will be getting the higher availability, right, of the machine. So with your unmanaged disk, you have to create a .vhd into the storage account. You will be responsible for maintaining, and your availability will go down like 95%. Okay, so we want much better than that. So what is going to happen is you will be choosing the managed disk over there at the particular point. Okay, so this is the first thing. So here you can read about the disk over here, this the disk pages. So benefit of managed disk, you will be reading highly durable, available, simple and scalable, integration with availability sets. Okay, it will be talking about the all the options that is going to be in there. Right now in this one, Azure backup and support, you will be reading about that, integration with availability zones. So all the things it will be talking about. Now security as well, encryption, server side encryption, disk encryption, what is the available option to you, that all are going to be discussed over there. Now when we talk about this thing, this role, everything will be here. Similarly, we have the option to encrypt the disks as well. So your disks are encrypted right now with the platform managed key, PMK, what we call generally. So this is going to be the, here you can see encryption, a new feature which is the encryption at host level, right? So what and how you can perform this thing. This is the whole step-by-step guide over there if you want to do something. Right now, as you are just starting, I will again suggest you go with the default options, right? What is the reason behind it? And you will be learning about your disk encryption, that they are encrypting your disk with the AES 256 encryption over here, right? So we'll be platform managed key, means key are going to be managed by the Microsoft as well. So we'll be leaving it as it is. Okay. And if you want into the option of advanced, if you want to create unmanaged disk, you can uncheck this option, right? But again, I'm telling you that leave it and on the default itself. Next, go to the networking. Now, remember I was telling you the very first thing that you need to do is create a network. So I would have gone ahead and create the VNet first and then start creating the virtual machine, but I directly go onto the virtual machine page. Why? Because from the one place itself, even if I have to create a new VNet, I can do that as well. Okay. Here, what you are seeing right now is the same thing. If you will notice right now, this is going to create a new virtual network. Here you can read this virtual network is saying new. A new virtual network is being created, and this is the name that has been given over here. A new subnet is also being created. A new public IP is also being created over here. That is going to be given to you. A new network security group is also given, and the allowed port is RDP that you are having over here, right? So these few simple things are there that you are seeing right now in front of you. Now, when we talk about this thing, you can, if you want to change any of the settings in the virtual network, you can click on this create new. So you don't need to go to the first virtual network and then come here. From the same page, I can handle all things. So if you want to just change its name, right? I want to give it the name like this, Cloud Expert Masterclass VNet, right? Now I want to change its range. I want to make it like 10.20, which I was telling you in earlier part. 10.20.0.0/16. I have 65536 addresses in this range. I will start dividing it into the subnet. Like subnet 0 is going to have your 10.20.0.0.0/24 over here, 256 address. Subnet 1, we can have 10.20.1.0/24 over here. Subnet 2, 10.20.2.0/24 over here. So like these three different subnets I'm creating for now. I create them, and then from the drop down list of subnet I can select on the subnet 1 I want to deploy this, I want to deploy it on the subnet 2, I want to deploy it on subnet 0. That's up to our choice. So we created this thing. Now public IP address is optional. I can choose none. No, I don't need to have the public IP address. I can choose this, or if you don't like this, because by default it will be giving you a static IP address which is going to cost you more. So what you can do, you can click on create new. It will give you the option. So SKU, storage keeping unit, a term which is used a lot of time. I always say this thing you need to understand as a plan, right? Like in your phone, you have what? You have the plans, okay, right? So what you have different plan, like free calling and this much of the this GB of the traffic and all. This is the one point over here. And yes, so guys, just allow me 1 minute. Huh? Let me just grab water quickly. Yes, so we were talking about these SKUs. SKUs are like the plan, right? So plan, you are picking up like basic, standard, how you want the assignment to be. So if I will select a basic tier, which will be the cheapest option. So SKUs are always the, your plan. So here, if you want to read more about the public IP address, how they are assigned, again, a link. Right? So you have storage keeping unit, basic or standard. So in the basic, I have the option that IP address you want static. Static means IP address will always be the same. Dynamic means it will change every time you will deallocate a machine and then again start a machine. It will be changed. So for now, and this will be the cheapest option in the IP address, because if you are using the static IP addresses, you have to pay more, right? So I'll be choosing the option like basic tier, dynamic assignment, and say okay, right? And only for today's demonstration, I am showing you these options so that you have better idea over here. With that, we are creating the network security group basic, keeping it as it is. Nothing else we are changing. We are allowing the inbound port traffic on RDP. And let's say that you want to allow HTTPS, SSH, or HTTP. You can do that as well. Like you can go ahead and select, port number 80 as well. For now, I am not choosing it. I can go next on to the management. In the management part, there is the, I have enrolled myself onto the Microsoft Defender for Cloud, which is a cloud security posture assessment service, help you with the vulnerability assessment, threat detection and all. And I am paying for that as well separately over here. So for you, if it is disabled, let it be disabled. Okay. Later you can, go ahead and work with our cloud with this one, right? This page auto shutdown, like for me it is enabled because usually I forgot about this, and then monthly Microsoft is giving me $150, and if I will be running 10-15 machines and forgot to shut them down, this is going to be like uh costing a good fortune from those for $150 of mine. So I want to avoid that. Okay, and that's why I am choosing it the auto shutdown. You can leave this whole page onto the default settings if you want, right? Now, there is going to be the monitoring option where we are going to be, disable the boot diagnostic. Means boot time records, it will be stored, it was storing onto the storage account. Okay. So this boot diagnostic one, you were just going ahead and enable with the managed storage account, or you have your own storage account and then you were storing that over there, those boot diagnostics, right? So there is going to be the boot diagnostic boot time records that you will be going ahead and working out with that, right? So this is going to be the first of all disabled. Okay, this is going to be the disabled for now. So we don't want those boot records over here. So only one thing in the monitoring you will be changing, then going on to the advanced, right? And then in the advanced, leave the all the things as it is, go to the tags and then simply review and create. And again, I was someone that was asking about the public IP address. So in the networking, guys, we click and create it on the public IP address here of a basic tier, and then your dynamic assignment of that, or static means static IP address or dynamic IP address. We'll be seeing this thing later on, don't worry, practically, that what is the difference. So in the basic you have two options. Static means IP address is always same, and dynamic, your IP address can change over the time, right? So this is something that was there with the public IP address. So again, we were on the advanced level, leave everything to the default. Tags, we are not adding any tags right now. And then there is going to be the review and create option. So we'll be going on to the review and create. And now this will be the review page. You can review your settings over here, whole settings. Then this is telling you the estimation that you might be charged 4.8968 INR per hour, right? So I'm happy with this thing, and I will say, okay, go ahead, everything looks fine, and create a virtual machine over here. Okay, so we will launch the create, click on create and wait for only 2 to 3 minutes. Remember, your cloud environment is Azure, so quickly within few minutes you can create anything, you can delete anything. So only we have to wait around few minutes and your virtual machine will be ready. Okay, now as you can see, within a minute we have a virtual machine ready, right? So what is happening over here in this part? Yes, so in this part what happened is, as we were talking about, that your virtual machine, when we talk about the virtual machine over here, this virtual machine is going to be prepared within a few, less than a 1 minute I can say it is prepared. And if I will be deleting it, same time it will be taking. So your cloud environment is pretty much agile. You can create any infrastructure within a minute, prepare it, and then delete it if you want, right? So I will click on go to resource. Okay, so when we are in the resource over here, what is going to happen is we are at the resource part. This is the virtual machine and the overview page at this point. So we have this overview. What we have to do with this one is, on the left hand side, lot of the expectations things over here. Okay, great. So we have this thing on the left hand side, multiple options you will be seeing with your virtual machine. You can right now notice that resource group is your Cloud Expert Masterclass. Operating system Windows Server 2022. Size is this, having the 2 also CPU, 8 gigs memory. This is the public IP address. This machine is part of this virtual network, Cloud Expert MC VNet. Subnet is subnet 0. Here it is running in the, its status is running right now. Then it is running in the central India, and this part of, this will be charging is this subscription and subscription ID. Just an overview over here. This is our private IP address of the machine, right? So this is my virtual machine. Now, if I have to connect with it, you guys will be having, no correlation ID is nothing important. So everything is what you are seeing here, that is important over here. Now in this place, what you will see, this is my virtual machine name, and you can see the resource type is virtual machine. Now in this whole part, if you want and you want to connect with this machine, So, what I have done, I have installed, because I am on the Mac OS, I have installed RDP for your Mac. Okay, a tool. In your machine, RDP will be already in advance, it will be deployed over here, right? In advance, it will be deployed. Now, what you are going to do is simply, I will do, I will go to the RDP connection over here. Either you can copy the, I can you either you can open your RDP tool, enter the IP address, then it will ask for the username, password. You can provide that, or you can download the RDP file from here. Okay, it will be downloading it. So this is the my RDP file. I click on that RDP file, which is downloaded, and it will ask me the username and password. So I will enter my username. I will enter my password, and I will say, yes, I trust this thing, and continue. And it will be connecting me to the particular virtual machine over here, right? And it is connecting to me this. And now what you look like, it look like a window machine I'm using right now. So till this point, you are seeing a different environment. And right now, you guys are seeing what? It looks like that I am running a window machine. Suddenly, my whole environment changed, right? So, does it look like that I have purchased a new system right now? Right? So guys, it feel like, right? Suddenly I switch my system, or I purchase a new system where I start running the Windows. So this is the Windows server page. This is my server manager dashboard. I can minimize this thing. I can go here and I can have anything, like this is the Microsoft Edge. I can open this Microsoft Edge over here, right? Uncheck this thing, start without your data, continue without this data, confirm and start browsing. Okay, so I'm having over here. So as you can see, this whole thing is working like, magic, we can say. So it is going on like this, one after another, one after another over here. So we are having this whole machine running. We are having this, experience that this is feel like a particular Windows server. So, like if you're familiar with this thing, you can actually add something like add roles and feature over here. You can go ahead and role-based feature based installation. So anyone who has installed the IIS server, so you can go ahead, select that IIS server, add this as a feature, and click on next, next, next until you will find the install. We install that IIS server very easily, right? So you can go ahead, select the IIS server installation, and you can install that server over here, and you will can start hosting an IIS server over here. So within 1 minute, you'll be seeing that IIS server will be installed in this machine. So which kind of vibes you are getting from this? That you have purchased a new system, you have currently a new system where you are installing all these scenarios. So what we created? We created a virtual machine over here. Okay, and don't worry, I will give you the time to create this in the session with me as well, so that if there will be some doubts, I can help you out with those. Okay, it will be installed quickly. 64% already there, and now you'll be seeing 100% instantly. So what I did, it installed my IIS server over here. Now I can minimize this thing. I can go on to the your system, my browser, and I can type something like 127.0.1, enter, and you can see we are having this IIS server hosted on this machine, right? First thing, very basic thing that we have seen till now. First thing is this. Now let me just go back and let me have Okay. Second thing, let me have, this was the first thing. Okay. I will show you the different factors of this machine itself, that what is going to be in there. Like I was talking about one thing, the state is right now running. Okay. And then there is something like the public IP address, which you can notice right now is 2198.77 and 202. With this, remember the size. When I was selecting the size of my machine, there was a temporary disk as well. So what was that temporary disk? Let's just go in there, go into this part, search for this PC. This PC we will go. Here, you are going to see a Windows C, which is a disk, a temporary storage. Remember, 16 gigs of temp storage were given to us. There was 127 gigs of operating system disk that is given to us. So these are the those two disks. And apart from this, I can add 4 additional data disks if I want to. That is also the option. Yeah, and why this? What is this temporary storage? This is the data loss warning readme file that is there. This is a temporary disk. So what we mean by this, we will be seeing this thing, right? Now we will be going in here and creating a new file into this one. And what is going to happen? Test disk. I will create inside a temporary storage. I'm creating a file test this. Hi, let's test temp disk. Okay, I will do this thing. Control save this thing over here. Now I will go ahead to this PC, close this PC. Okay, and let's just go back to my desktop, main part here. Now public IP address. Okay, someone is asking that how I create the public IP address. Remember, when I was creating a new resource under the networking option, what was there? They were asking me that you want to create an IP address for public IP address for this machine. So I opted for a new public IP address from here, right? So it was like public IP address, like right now none. I need to give these some name and select the at least this uh, resource group over there, some random name I am giving it over here. Go to the networking section. You will see public IP addresses like this. I created a new public IP address from there, and Azure is providing this public IP address to me. With the static, I will be getting or charged more. And in here, if you remember, what is happening? I was selecting the, this is right now. Oh, okay. I'm having the availability zone selected over here. No infrastructure redundancy. Networking. Now, if I will go in here, I selected the basic tier and the dynamic IP address. Why? That I want, this is cheaper option. With that, I want to show you one thing that is, right now we are seeing. So this is the public IP address, 2198.77 and 202. And we just created a file, right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this restart. It is saying, do you want to restart the machine? Okay, so first thing, like right now it is in a running state, and keep noticing the status. I will click on restart, click on yes. So it is telling me successfully restarted virtual machine, right? So right now, if I will refresh this page, or I will refresh this from here itself, the whole browser itself at once, here. So if you will notice, IP address is the same, 202, right? This was the same IP address. If you will look over here, so this is the machine that I was connected to. Let me just bring it out over here. So if you will notice, 20.198.77.202, same machine. So when you restart the machine, IP address, even it was the public IP address was dynamic, it is same, right? I was disconnected. So again, I will do, and I will again try to connect on the same IP address. I will go into that machine. Okay. Now I'm inside the machine one more time. make it the full screen, minimize this thing. And one more thing with this, that temporary storage, right? Let's just go to this PC one more time. Let's go to this PC. Again, there is a temporary storage, and here is my same file. Same file is here, test disk. Hi, I am test temp disk. This is something that I created. Then why its name is temporary storage if file is still there? Okay, let's just try this one more time, right? Let me close this RDP connection one more time. And this time, rather than restart, let me just first go ahead and click on stop. Now it is asking me, do you want to reserve the public IP address? I will uncheck this thing and click on go ahead and click on OK. Okay, you can see it is status is like right now saying you're running. It is now changed to deallocating. I refresh the page. Okay, now in few minutes it will be changed to the deallocated. Successfully stop the virtual machine. Status is stopped and deallocated over here. The machine is deallocated. Now one more time I will go ahead and click on start the virtual machine. Right, everyone. So when we are talking about this thing, okay, so in this one, what is going to happen is we have stopped this machine. Again, I started this machine. I give it a few seconds. After start, give it a few seconds. Okay, as it's all agents are not going to be working properly. Now they are working properly, right? It is in the running state. This time, if you will notice, so what it means, again, I need to go and connect. And again, I will be downloading that RTP file. I'm a bit lazy. I'm not opening the app and then typing the IP address over there. I download the RDP file, go on to the connect, download RDP file, click on that file that is downloaded. It will be automatically opening the connection, asking me the username and the password. So I will go ahead, click on continue and connect with this one. And now you will be connected with your machine over here. Okay, I'm again inside this machine. I will give it few seconds to run normally. Right, temporary storage. And can you see that the machine that you were having or the file that you were having, it is no longer available over here. Now why? Okay, there is a difference when you restart a virtual machine or when you reboot a virtual machine. So when you do the restart, okay, with the restart, what is happening? You need to understand your virtual machine is being run onto the where it is being run. It is actually being run onto a physical server somewhere in the data center of central India. Now, when we are talking about this whole thing, okay, okay, when we are talking about this thing over here, when you restart, so your VM is kind of, just like you restart your system on the same physical machine. If this is, I'm talking, this is a rack, a physical server or a mainframe where it was running. On the same physical machine, it will again reboot it and start it. So your public IP address temp file, it will be same. But when you stop this machine, it become deallocated, means it is no longer running on the same physical machine. And next time when you start that machine, what is going to happen? When you are going to start that machine, that particular machine is gonna go ahead and run on any different machine at that particular time. At any different particular machine, it will be running over there. So this is going to be your stop, start, restart kind of a thing that is going to be in there, right? So we are having these options, and that's why the temporary file, the temp disk, when you do the deallocate the machine and start the machine, that's why those files they were gone from the system. So this was the reason behind it. Okay, so we have things running like this onto the your Azure over here, right? First part. Okay, one machine we created. Now, can we create quickly another virtual machine as well that will be running onto the your Linux environment? So now you guys are familiar with it. So what we can do, I will click on create a resource, create a virtual machine. Okay, choosing your subscription, choosing your resource group, Cloud Expert Masterclass. Virtual machine name will be on the same naming convention I am going to follow over here to, right? In Central India, no infrastructure redundancy. I will select your Ubuntu Server 18.04. Okay, cross 64 architecture, but I don't require this 8 gigs of RAM. This is too much. So I will choose something like the one virtual CPU, 2 gigs memory, more than enough. Now you have two options. Either you can have SSH public key or password. Now at this place, if you are on the Windows, I can ask you to download something like a tool. I think many of you have worked with this as well, Putty, right? So I will ask most of you guys to download Putty. Okay, so you can use the Putty. With that you can use either public key to log in or a password to log in as well. Okay, in my system I'll be using my terminal to go ahead and connect with my Putty over here by my Linux machine over here. Okay, commands will be same, but yes, you can use the Putty tool as well. So here you can go to the password, we can go to the username. Okay, we are having this thing, this time enabling the your SSH connection onto the Linux machine. I'm having what? Cross 64 Ubuntu Server 18.04 LTS to go with, your one virtual CPU, 2 gigs of RAM, password based connection, disk setting same as it is, networking setting same network I'm using, different subnet. Last time the first machine was in the subnet 0, this time I'm deploying it in the subnet 1. Right now I'll be creating new IP address with this one. Again, I will go on to the create new basic tier dynamic IP address. Okay, cheaper option, I want to spend less over there. NIC network interface card is going to be the basic and leaving as it is. Management, no changes. Monitoring, boot logs, I don't want to collect them, so I will disable this thing. Advanced, leave it as it is. Tax and review, tax same as it is. Review and create on this part going to be the same, and we are going to create the Linux machine now. Okay, now my virtual machine based on Ubuntu server is deployed as well, right? So this is going to be in there. So we are going to go ahead and click on go to resource. Okay, so we go in here. So what you are going to be in this part, this is my machine. This is my public IP address. So I will copy this thing. Okay, and I will open my terminal, and through that I will be connecting to this machine via the SSH connection over here. So let me just open my terminal. Okay, now from here what we will do is how to log in with the your SSH. I will type SSH username and @ and your IP address over here, and with that I will enter over here and type yes and enter simply. It will ask me for the password. I will give the password, and I'm now logged in into the your machine. As you can see the my terminal over here, right? Demo user @ cloud expert second machine, second VM masterclass, second VM we are in right now. Okay, you can use same method with the putty tool as well if anyone want to understand that what we have. Okay, So in the your Windows machine, if you guys have a tool which we generally call the putty, you can go in there. Okay, uh, you can go with this something like download putty. Okay, we can go click here and go to your download putty directly over here. This is the latest one, so we'll be for cross 86 for ARM, what you want, right? 64-bit ARM, alternative binary files, anything that you want to go, you can have that, and you can download that particular one. Okay, so this is the one place. Okay, or you can directly visit their website as well. This is the putty.org. You can go in here and directly download putty, right? So from here, you can go ahead and I can go with this one. Here it is the put installer. You can use it, simply install it. Okay, now in here, we'll be going on to the putty, and in here we can paste the IP address over here, right? On the port number 22, you want to connect, right? Now what you will be doing is uh, one more thing. In the appearance, I will increase the font size actually because it is going to be very small. You might feel that it is very small, so 16 will be good. Okay, and I will click on open, login as demo user 1, password, and then you will be logged in as the demo user over here as well. So this is something that you guys can also perform if you want to. You want to exit putty? Yes, I want to exit from the putty, right? For the window machine, you can do this thing. And I am right now from my base machine, I'm connected over there. So simple thing, simple command you can run over here. Sudo like apt get update, right? I can run the update file and update this, update the files repository over here, that whatever is missing, that is going to be installed over there. So now what I can do, if you want to install something like sudo apt get install your Nginx server. If you want to install that, you can install that as well. Yes, I want to install additional files as install this thing. So you can perform these kind of the tasks as well over here, right? So simply things are going to be like this. Okay, so we can play around with the things like this if we want to. So we have this demo user which we connected. We installed the relations, different things over here, and it is working absolutely fine. So we have now deployed the two virtual machines over here. Okay. Yep, great. So team, what we are going to do is we have created the two virtual machines where we have installed, like in this one, an IS server. In the second one is Linux based machine where we have gone ahead and hosted the your Nginx server. So this is going to be in there, and this is how we will be working with them, right? So we have the two different machines. We have seen how to launch it. So again, just to tell you that what you have to do, go to home. You have to select this virtual machine option from here, and this is something that you'll be creating a resource group where you will be deploying, keeping the disk, networking, management, all the sources at once, and you'll be working with them. A very small thing. Now to notice is that what we were having is two virtual machine hosting these web servers over there. And in the your particular this one, Cloud Expert, this one, we have checked that one out as well. That if we will be going with the your uh, yeah, with this one local IP address, we are hosting IS server on the Windows machine and Nginx on the Linux machine. So a very simple thing is that for now we will be not, mostly we'll be dealing with this option tomorrow. But today, just in the perspective of today, if I will copy this public IP address and I will paste it over here and try to, you know, access it through my browser. Ideally, it should be giving me the, access page of that Cloud Expert, machine, that IS page, but it is not doing it. It will be unable to make a connection. Why? Because if you will be looking under the networking section, that network security group is having those inbound, outbound rules, just like any basic packet filter firewall it will have. Okay. So here, right now, what you have to do simply port number 80 traffic we will allow. So we'll add an inbound traffic rule from in which from anywhere around the globe, we will allow the traffic onto the, from the service, you will select HTTP, and on port number 80, we will allow the traffic. Okay. On the, like, this is the, okay, Cloud Expert Masterclass, second virtual machine, Linux base. Okay, so you will have that. The rule has been created here. Same thing you will be doing onto the first virtual machine as well. If we will move ahead, this was the infrastructure as a service with the virtual machine which we were seeing. Okay, now I will tell you about one more service that is going to be in here. I will take you back to the portal. So in here, we were just now talking about the two services that is in here. I'm going to close these things. I will go back onto the your Azure portal now. And in the Azure portal, what we are going to deal with for now is an infrastructure PaaS service, platform as a service. So let's just think this, that if you are a developer, right? And if you have to host a web application on this virtual machine, in this one, again, you have to go and take care of everything from here: runtime environment, operating system, installing the tools, handling it, and everything. But I don't want that. I want a simple thing that I just want to deploy my code and just enjoy it, right? So for that, what you have the another option on the portal menu. If you will see, there is going to be the your Azure's web app. Okay, look like I have removed the web app from here, but you can click on create a resource. In there, you will be having the web app option over here. Now in the web app, I can simply go and click on create. So this is a PaaS solution that what we have. So I will click on create. Now the thing with this is almost similar. This time I don't need to maintain underlying operating system or anything over here. So from the drop down, you can go ahead, select your resource group. You can go to your instance details. You can give the web app name over here, like I want to create something, your let's say app name. Let's just give it some unique app name, like, okay, like I'm using Azure Expert Masterclass in here, which will be extended by the .azure.website.net. Now, in that web application, do you want to publish a code, a Docker container, or static web app? What you want to publish over there? So I will say, let's say for example, I want to publish a code. Now that code I will be having must have some runtime stack of this. Let's say, for example, that runtime stack we have right there, we have written that thing either into the .NET or in the Go or in the Java, Node, PHP, Python, which is what is over in Ruby as well. So what we are using right now. Okay, so for example, if you are using ASP, .NET version 4.8, so you will see one more option popping up, that is the operating system. So you don't have to maintain that underlying machine. So just it is saying the underlying machine where this app will be hosted, which kind of environment you want. Now, if you are familiar, ASP.NET only supported in the Windows environment. So, it is just going with this something like Windows. Okay. Now, what is happening is if I will choose something like .NET LTS or .NET 7 .LTS over here, it is supported in both operating system. Hosted. It can be hosted in the Linux and in the Windows as well. So I'm going to say that, okay, I can choose either Linux or either the Windows over there. Okay, so if I will be selecting something like Java can have the in the both option over here, Linux, Windows. Apart from the Java, you can select the Node, which is again hosted on the both. You can have the Python 3.11, which is only hosted on the Linux, right? So these options are there. So let's say, for example, you wanted to host your code on the ASP.NET 4.8, or let's say .NET 7 STS over there. Now, in this one, you are going to go ahead and have the operating system. I will say that host it on the Windows based underlying machine, which will be hosting my web app, should be on the Windows. Region, I can select like the Central India again. Now, in this region, I can go ahead and now there is going to be my pricing plans. So there are different, again, SKU, what we can call it, and different tiers of the plans as well. Okay, so when we are at this particular place, we are gonna go ahead and perform something like, we will scroll it down. Okay, we will be at this particular part. Okay, we will scroll it down, and we are here at the overview pricing table, different pages over here. So we will be just going ahead and explore our pricing options. So there we have pay as you go, your Azure saving plan reservation over here, right? So on these particular places we are having on this particular part. So now at this one we are having something like pay as you go, Azure service saving plan and different options. Now in the plans, what we are interested in for Linux and for the Windows, there are different plans, right? That you can select. Like right now we are on the Windows, we can select the price sheet for the your Windows itself. Now there will be different tiers. In the different tiers, okay, what we are going to have is we are going to have something like users tier is like for free tier, shared tier, basic, standard, premium, and isolated. And these plan is going to have different plans as well, like B1, B2, like this. Okay, S1, S2, like this. They are having the different categories as well. Now you will see free tier in the same plan for Windows. If I am creating in the Central India, I am creating a plan. That plan can host around 10 web apps over here. Same if I'm creating in the shared tier, 100 web app APIs it can have. Now a host. From basic it become unlimited. Then disk space given to them 1 gigs, 1 gigs, 10, 50, 250, 1 TB. Then maximum instance it is like up to 3, up to 10, up to 30, up to 100. This is going to be like this. Okay. Then it is going to be like your custom domain. So in the custom domain, it is like, your supported. Here again, it is telling it the supported. Here again, the supported. Custom domain means if you don't want to, like right now, I am going with the .azure website.net. You want to add your custom domain, it is supported from the shared tier. Then auto scaling, right? So this traffic increase and you want to perform the auto scaling. So maximum instance, you can say it can deploy 3, 10, 30. So if you do auto scale is only supported from the standard tier. So in this part, you might have to do the manual scaling. So it is supported from this plan. Hybrid connectivities and the different other options, they will be activated as soon as you will keep going on. Virtual network connectivity, private endpoints, compute type, right? What it will be giving to you. Now pay as you go price, you will see it will be on the hours, right? That how much you have to pay per hour over here. This is going to be in here. Now this is going to be the free and shared over here. So in the free and shared F1, D1, two options. Basic plan B1, B2, B3, you can see RAM storage that will be given to you. Standard service plan, you are going to have these specific plan to you, right? So you can choose your plan accordingly. What is your need, right? You can check what is your need, and based on that, you can go ahead and simply have the whole scenario working over here. Now, when we are on this particular part, you can see there is going to be the, let me just close this one. Okay, you can pick up, this is my plan name and this is my pricing plan. So you can explore the pricing range and have the whole experience to yourself. If you want more, you want to explore more, you can click on explore pricing range. So you will see the hardware view. Yeah, here if you will see, we have different tiers. So which one you want to pick? Free, shared, basic. So I'm selecting basic P1, right? I'm selecting this plan and this is the basic P1 for us. Now, do you want it redundancy or not? That is not supported with this plan. So, redundancy of your app, if you want, you can have that as well. So this is the basic one. Next, the deployment phase. Now, you can enable the GitHub action for your continuous deployment over here. Now, if you are working with the your DevOps, you'll be familiar with the CI/CD kind of a pipeline. And if you have a GitHub account, a repository that you want to use later on, so you can just go ahead and for continuous deployment, you can enable this feature. It will ask you to log in with your account. You need to authorize it, select your whole directory, repository which you want to use, and you want to integrate those codes directly here into your web apps for CI/CD purpose. You can do now that as well. You can do your workflow configuration as well once you are authorized over there, right? But we are just keeping it simple. We are not going with the DevOps and another kind of a thing for now. This is going to wait. Next, it is going to be on the networking part. We have enabled the public access. Okay, network injection, we are keeping it off. Go with the default setting. Next, monitoring. Keep your application insight. Application insight is going to be the your application performance management for the developer. So it will monitor your application. It will detect if there is any anomalies in your performance, right? It will give you the analytics tool to diagnose your issues, that what is there, at what time you have the high traffic, low traffic, from where people are trying to reach you out, from which zone region your traffic is mostly, at what time you see the most of the traffic. So it will do that analysis for you. So if you want to get that enabled, you can have that, or you can turn it out, like, go and select the no. Like I just want to show you how to deploy the your resource. So we are going with the no over here. Next, we'll be going with the tags. We will be leaving few tags over here next to the review and create, and we are going to create the your particular web app over here. So simply this will be the review page. You can see an estimated price per month. Although you have to pay per hour, you can go ahead and you will click on create your resource. Now it will again take a few seconds over here and it will be creating your resource at this particular part. Okay, so as you can see, it just got deployed, right? Once it is deployed, we will go to the page source, and this is going to be my web app over here. Now, if you want to enable the access to the application inside, you can click on this button. Default domain, you can see this is my domain of my web app. I will be pasting it for you. Okay, right? So we will have this thing. Now, apart from this, you will see the different option on the left hand side, like you have the option of different deployment slot you can create, like the new version you want to launch and you want to check that out on a different domain name. You can create a separate slot. You can check that one out. You can have application insight, identity configure for this, backup configure for this. You can add your custom domain, add your certificates, networking option, scale up, scale down your resource. So all the options will be over here that you can work with one by one. Now in this one, what is going to happen is, if you have to browse this app, it will be just having the default page. I can either click on browse, or okay. So everyone can, oh, I think I'm just send for everyone. I will be posting this thing, right? So if you will see, I think you should all should be getting the same page like I'm getting over here. Okay, great. So I am getting the start getting the answers. Well, like what is the, what is happening right now? Okay, so you are getting these web apps which is being deployed like this at all the times. So you can go ahead and get the access, get the different things as well onto this particular part. So this was the your web application. You can play around, then you can go to your, if you would have the application, you can publish it as well, right? Okay, so I guess everyone was able to access this one. Now, if you have were able to access this one, you can also stop this web app at any point. So if I will take you back to the web page, here it is the stop action, right? I can stop this web app and then I will be only paying for what I'm having right now. Okay, so this is the one particular thing that what we have over here. So in this particular part, okay, so what you can do, you can download its publish profile if you want to, and just publish it itself, right? So this is the few options that you have over here. So this is the web app, you can host it anywhere itself. Okay, because code is not here. So I will be writing the code on my ASP.NET, and from there I will be publishing it on the this particular your web app itself. So I can host that same code anywhere else as well at the moment, right? So we can have these kind of the options to play around with the web application and the deploying the APA service over here. So till now we have seen your cloud expert, virtual machine 1, virtual machine 2, window based machine, Linux based machine, and a pass service over there. So these are not the only services that you will be getting into the your cloud. So what are some other Azure service solutions as well? So now these were the very simple ones, like everyone will be giving you that. Now we will go on to the bit specific ones as well. So we will start doing or working with the different solutions that is going to be in there. Like Azure, AWS, they also provide some solution to us which is based on the your particular, I would say, IoT. There is the solution which is going to work with the your IoT serverless. There is going to be the DevOps one, big data one. So all these different ones are going to be in there at the different part. So first of all, we will be starting with the Azure Solutions, and in the Azure Solution, we will be looking into the first what kind of the IoT services it is going to give us over the Azure itself, right? So we will start with the few more Azure Solutions over here. Okay, let's just go to the slide bit theory. Let's just understand what other services are given to us over your Azure itself. So first of all, there is going to be the your Azure Solution IoTs. So we will start with the Internet of Things first of all. So I am hoping that everyone is familiar with the IoT, right? Internet of Things. So your services that can connect to the internet, like at your home you will be having smart AC, your smart TV, and then later on your simple one of the simplest example that we might be seeing is going to be the smart vending machine, right? You have the different IoT solution around the globe that you can play around, play around over there. So there could be the and number of the IoT services that you might be using over there. So IoT is the capability of a gadget to gather the information. Okay, how they gather the information? They have the different sensors. So they collect information like temperature, right? The environment, the humidity, those kind of thing it could be collecting. So there is going to be the your IoT capability to gather and transfer the latest data for information investigation over there. Now, in this one, what we are going to do is Azure also provide you the different services over there. So it is providing you the services like IoT Hub, okay, so which is the managed service which is hosted onto the cloud and act as a central message hub for bidirectional communication between your IoT application and the device that it manage. So first thing is going to be in here is the IoT hub, right? So this is just like a hub in between where your device can connect. So it is just collecting a central piece which is connecting itself for the bidirectional communication over there. So you are going to have this hub, and you can build these IoT solution with reliable and secure communication between millions of IoT device and a cloud host solution backend. So a backend like a portal is here which is collecting its data. So between them and multiple IoT devices, million IoT devices which is connected to this, you can create the services like this over there as well, right? And it will be having a secure communication between device and your solution backend. So you can connect virtually any device to your IoT hub itself over there, right? So it's support as it is bidirectional means it is supporting both kind of communication from the device to cloud and from cloud to device as well. So this will be the first part that you will be having. Second is going to be this Azure IoT Central, which is building on top of the IoT Hub. Okay, on top of this, you will be adding the IoT Central. Okay, so this is a dashboard that is going to allow you to connect, monitor, and manage your IoT devices. So the visual UI, it will be making it easy for quickly to connect a new device and watch them being sending any telemetry data that they are sending out there or error messages. So you can watch overall performance across the whole devices. You can aggregate them. You can set up the alert. You can send notification when a specific device it need the maintenance. And finally, you can push hardware update to the devices as well, right? So all these things can be done by your IoT Central. So it is giving you the dashboard, you are building it on top of the IoT hub, building it on top of that, and just managing everything, pushing someone the update, like someone send you the temperature, right? And then you notice that it is not working, that any sensor is not working properly. You can send the command like restart this thing. Okay, so those kind of thing you can control from the your IoT Central itself. Then there is going to be the your Azure Sphere. So it create end-to-end highly secure IoT solution for customer that is going to have everything from hardware to operating system on the device. So to secure the method of it is going to secure the method of sending message from device to the message hub. From the device to the message hub, the communication that you are doing, it will be protecting that. It has the built-in communication and security feature for internet connected devices that is going to be in there. So this is going to be the different part. Actually, there is the three different part to the Azure Sphere. If I will be going bit in depth, first part is going to be the Azure Sphere microcontroller unit, which is responsible for processing the operating system and signal from a test sensor, right? So it is going to have Azure, like if I remember last time when I check it out, the development kit was the Sphere MT3620 development kit, right? So there were different prototypes at that time that it was running. I usually don't work. It's been a long time since I had worked with the IoT devices, so it used to be there. Then second part of this spare was the customized Linux operating system, which used to handle communication between security service, and it can run the vendor's software as well over there. And then the third part of this is going to be the Azure Spare Security Service, which job is to make sure that device is not compromised. So it can, when device attempt to connect to the Azure, it first authenticate itself per device, which is, certification based authentication you will be doing. So you can enable the authentication part over there. Okay, so these things are going to be the part of it which you want to, if you want to play around with this, you can just go there and work for this whole scenario over there. So this is the few part that we will be working over there. Okay, now this is something where we started with as well. Okay, this is the one of the part that what we are having over there. So third option is the, okay, someone asked the third option. Third is Azure Spare Security Service over there, right? So we have these options that is in the IoT services over there. So these three solutions you are seeing in the IoT services most of the time over there. Now, with this, there is also going to be the your data services as well that is going to be in there. So you will be having the uh, big data service, big data analytics service as well that will be running over there for you. You can choose from those big data services as well. There is the different other options as well which you can opt for. You can work with those services as well as you keep going ahead, right? So if we talk about, there is going to be the three services, okay? And here are these three services that is there. Okay, now when we are talking about, okay, so when we are talking about this whole thing, we are going to see some big data services as well that is going to be in there. So there are three services that is the part of this. There is going to be, first of all, your Azure Synapses Analytics, which is simply a cloud-based cloud-based, we will say, environment enterprise, a data warehouse that is going to be in there, and we can use this thing to collect your data, analyze your data, and do the very simple tasks. Okay, when you have a lot of data, you can use the Synapses Analytics first of all. With the Synapses Analytics, what else we have? We have the HD Insight, Azure HD Insight, which is a fully managed open source analytics services for your enterprises. And we have Azure Database, which is Azure Spark based analytics services. So you can perform ETL over here, right? Extraction, transform, load. If you are familiar with these terminologies, we can use these terms as well as we keep moving ahead. So these three are the very basic big data services that you will be finding it over here. So we have the services like this. So when we talk about the Azure Synapses Analytics, as we were talking about, so it is fully managed data warehouse service with the integral security at every level and scale, and it is going to have no additional data cost to this one. When you are going with the your ETL performance or anything, it is going to work like that. Now, when we are okay, so when we are talking about these, few of the Q core services, uh, the Synapses Analytics, it was actually formerly known as the Azure SQL Data Warehouse. Okay, and it is kind of limitless analytics service, which is going to bring your data warehousing and big data analytics together over itself. Now, when we talk about this, Azure Synapses is kind of integrate, is there to bring two words together, and they have the unified experience to ingest, prepare, manage, and serve data for intermediate BI and machine learning needs. That is going to be in there. Now, this Azure HD Insight is, when we are talking about this, it is a cloud service that make it easier faster and more cost efficient to process massive amount of data. So HD Insight, it will allow you to run popular open source framework like Apache Spark, Apache Hadoop, Kafka, Apache HBase, Apache Storm, and machine learning services over there. And it support broad range of scenarios like ETL, extraction, transformation, loading over there, right? This is going to be the one part over there. Now, with this, we are going to have Azure Databricks, which is going to help us unlock the insight from your data and build artificial intelligence solution. We can set Apache Spark environment within the minutes. Then we can auto scale, collaborate on the shared project in the interactive workspace. So Azure Databricks, it is going to support your Python, Scala, R, Java, SQL, and the different, data science framework as well, and library like TensorFlow, PyTorch. Okay, these kind of the library also it support over there. Okay, so this is the one another part. With that, there is also going to be the your DevOps option for your developers over there, right? So we have these options as well if you want to go ahead and work with this. So we have the different DevOps options working for us. So there is going to be like Azure DevOps. With that, you are going to have, we have two things. Azure DevOps, it is the professional version control, reporting, requirement management. Okay, with that, we also have the option to go with the GitHub as well. So in the Azure DevOps service, you will be having Azure repositories, Azure board, Azure pipeline, Azure artifact, Azure test plan like of the services that is going to be in there. So we'll be starting with them itself. So when we talk about the your GitHub and the Azure Dev Test Labs, so it is going to provide you the different options that is going to be in there. So within the DevOps, you have Azure repositories. When we talk about them, Azure Repos, which is a centralized source code repository where software development, DevOps engineering, and document professional they can publish their code, review, and collaborate. Then there is going to be the your Azure boards. So it is an agile project management suite that is going to include things like the Kanban boards, reporting, tracking, idea, high level topics. It also has something like the Azure pipeline, right? So pipeline is going to do the CI/CD automation task. This is going to have Azure is going to have Azure, when we talk about all these things. Okay, this was my pen. So what it has the Azure repo, Azure repos. It is going to have your Azure boards. It is going to have Azure pipeline, right? It is also going to have Azure artifact. Artifact is a repository for hosting the artifact, like any compiled source codes, which can be fed into the testing and deployment pipeline steps. Then there is Azure test plan as well for testing purpose, right? So you can use that as well. With that, we have the GitHub Actions as well. Like I was just simply showing you right now with the web app, you can integrate your GitHub's option over there. So what it will be having, these GitHub, I think we can say that it is world's most popular code repository for the open source software, right? Where Git is simply the decentralized source code management tool. GitHub is a hosted version of that Git, and it serves the primarily, as the primary remotely. So GitHub built on top of Git to provide the related service for coordinating work, reporting, and discussing the different issues and documentation it provide. And it has the different, functionality like shared source code repository, project management, Kanban board, right? A CI/CD pipeline. So these kind of things it is going to provide you as well. With that, we also have something which we call the Azure Dev Test Lab, right? GitHub Action, GitHub, we have already talked about this. So Dev Test Lab. So if you have to do the, if you have to create an environment to test your application, you want to deploy, virtual machines, okay, pass resources to test your code and everything. So within few minutes, what it can do, it can go ahead and it can deploy the whole resources for you, right? So we have DevOps, GitHub, we have the GitHub repository, DevTest Lab, these things deployed over there. And DevTest Lab is just helping you to test your resources instantly over there, right? So we are going to have those solutions as well. Now, with that, what also we have is your AI tools. Okay. Not only these things are there, but we also have some of the AI tools as well that is going to be in there. So in the AI tools, when we talk about them, I have not mentioned them, but you should be aware that you can create a machine learning platform onto your Azure as well. And that too within the seconds as well. And this has the different services, different cognitive services as well. So if you are thinking something regarding the your what I would say uh, language services, okay, speech services, vision services, all these things you will be finding in the machine learning marketplace. You will go, you will find all these services. You will find that there is going to be the your language service in the AI and machine learning. So language, it allow to you to process the natural language with pre-built script. Okay, there is going to be the speech services as well. Okay, it can convert speech into text and also into the natural sounding speech. It can translate one language to another. Okay, and it can enable speaker verification recognition service. There is going to be the vision over here. So with the vision service, you can add recognition, identification capability like analyzing videos, picture, visual content. You have those services as well. Not only that, you have the Azure bot service as well, right? Azure bot service as well. So in the bot service framework is platform is going to create a virtual agent, understand the question like human and interact with the human over there. So these different AI services are also going to be available to us. And okay, so actually, these are the some services that is provided to you. Even there is serverless. Remember yesterday we were talking about the serverless computing. We were talking about the Azure Functions, Logic App. These are the other services that is going to be provided to you, right, by the Azure itself. So there are different services that is provided to you by the Azure. Now, one thing I think, today we are almost towards the end, but a very simple thing that I can show you is management, right? How you can go ahead and manage the Azure. So one thing is the portal that you have seen till now, that you were going to the Azure portal and managing the whole Azure account, but this is not the only way. Okay, this is not the only way for you to go ahead and manage your Azure, right? So different apps you are or ways of managing your Azure you are having over here. First is the portal. Second, Azure PowerShell. You have mobile app, command line interface, Cloud Shell, and REST APIs as well. Through all these methods, you can maintain or manage your portal. Now, all of them, they will be sending their template or submitting their request to what? Azure Resource Manager, ARM, which we were talking about yesterday as well a bit. So what we will be doing, we will need to have these kind of your resources as well. Now, if I will tell you that how to install the CLI, so CLI can be installed in the any operating system. Okay, then through your bash portal or your terminals, you can access it. Like I will show you it here, okay, before ending today's session. So tomorrow we'll be starting with the same thing, management tool, that how to go ahead and work with this. Okay, then the few monitoring tools and other things we will be seeing tomorrow. So when we'll be talking about this, okay, I want to install Azure CLI in Windows. Okay, so let me just search this one. That's why I don't like this thing. That's why I prefer the Google. Bing never give me the very good results at once. So here, how to install it on the window. This is going to be the install the CLI part, how you want, if you want to install CLI on the Windows, on Mac OS, on Linux, what you have to do, this will be the part. So this is going to be the latest version, so latest release. Okay, I can download it. In the Windows, it is very easy to perform. You can go in here. Okay, it is just installing. And in the meantime, you can read other things, run the Azure proxy blockchain, uninstall, how to do this, how you can install it on the Linux. You will be having this option as well, right? So you will be seeing the different version you are having, and according to that, you can install that thing. Or how to install it on the Mac OS, you can, go with the step-by-step command over here. Use this thing. Let me click on finish. Okay. Or you can just simply search install Azure CLI, or instead of that, PowerShell. So already PowerShell is in the window. So what it will do, it will give you the option again over here. How to install it? So it will be installing, asking you to download a module in the Windows system, PowerShell Gallery, MSI installer, how you want to install it, right? So how one by one you can go ahead and work with this one. This is going to be the part of it. Installation and update, sign in. This is the part that you will be doing over here. Okay. So this is the something that what we will have over here. Right? So tomorrow I will show you how you will be verifying yourself with the your CLIs. Like CLI is like right now installed. Okay. What we can do, or what I can do, I can just simply open my CMD portal as well normally. And I can go in there and I can simply, with the CLI start running this whole thing at once. Okay. So this is going to be the part that is going to be in this one. So what I can do simply is, in this, I will be opening CMD, command prompt. In there, I will run something like az hyphen hyphen version and test out whether it is installed over there or not. So you can see, yes, it is. CLI is now installed in my system over there. Now, if I had to find a command related to anything, so what we'll be creating, az find. Okay, and I have to find a blob related command. So most popular, some popular blob related command, it will be giving me the examples, finding examples. Here are some of the examples. So how the queries goes for the your restore blob in a specific time, download a blob file path. So how you should be having the your query, it will be like this, right? So you can have something like these things over there. So we'll be starting with this point tomorrow. I'll be showing you how to create a storage account, then talking about some security services over there, right? So this is our today's task, that what we did. Okay, few things is left from the today's overall opinion, which we'll be covering in the tomorrow's session over there. Okay,